Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Vincent.
I'm Rich.
And we're from cinemaobserver.com. We just saw Noah 2 days ago. We'd like to maybe talk about some stuff going on in the film and some stuff that we liked and didn't like.
This film is really surrounded by controversy because it is not a literal interpretation from the Bible story at all. It's Darren Aronofsky's newest film. He's the guy who directed, Requiem for a Dream, Black Swan, Pi.
Great movies, by the way.
Great movies, but really kind of weird and kind of trippy kind of style movies. So this is a kind of a new interpretation of the Noah story. Russell Crowe plays the title character, and he's really good in this. I think the central idea and central moral struggle that Noah goes through this movie is really good too.
It's interesting to think about and discuss, but at the same time, we thought it was kind of drowned out by, and there's a pun in there, but drowned out by everything else in the film, like kind of Ham's teen angst and what else did we discuss? Not being very...
Ray Winstone's King character.
Yeah, so
very weird.
They didn't develop some of the characters as much as we would have liked, like Ham, who I think plays an integral part in Noah's kind of thought process going onto the ark. Kind of just all of a sudden is mad, in the middle of the movie.
If you guys are all familiar with the Narnia series of books, he reminded me a lot of Edmund in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where for whatever reason he's just mad at something and he decides to betray his family. It's kind of the same kind of deal here. And that really is a detriment to the film. It could have been about
45 minutes
shorter for sure.
We haven't spoiled anything either, so this is...
We're trying not to spoil anything for any of these.
You know how Noah ends, though.
Yeah.
It's Noah's Ark.
I must say, a lot of the visually, it looked really impressive. There are a couple Aronofsky-isms, would you say?
The apple, he pulls there's a whole sequence of shots where the snake slithers into the garden, and then a hand rips an apple down. You hear the very vivid, that crack from the apple.
Yeah.
Very Aronofsky-esque.
Yeah, in terms of the way it looks too, because it's not like smooth motion like film. It's like a bunch of photographs kind of staggered, and it's kind of like a montage like that.
That was well done.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that, and there's no doubt that Crowe put in a great performance. I would have liked to see less kind of fluff
with the whole revenge story and the teen angst story,
which were big parts of the film, but were not hashed out in a suitable manner, in my opinion.
And they could have been taken out completely, and the film would have been much better off for it, I think.
So this whole idea of, is there really a justified reason to do a bad thing, is kind of something I think is really important, because it's a conversation we can all have about various things, not just about the killings that happen in the movie, but are bad things we do for good reasons, does that take away from the fact that they're bad things?
Yeah, and this is really a theme that's throughout the whole Old Testament, actually. If anyone is all familiar with the story of Abraham, God tells him to, kind of prove your worth to me, you have to kill your firstborn son. To kill a firstborn is, a serious crime, and
Noah was willing to do that too. So.
Yeah, and Noah was willing. That's the thing about this movie. People who haven't seen it yet, and they accuse this movie of not being biblical, but I, in fact, argue on the contrary. I mean, the central theme is very biblical, and if you are Christian and have been kind of steered away from this movie because it isn't a literal interpretation of the story, I actually encourage you to go see it just for that reason. However, half of what makes up the plot is very dumb. Basically.
Yeah, we mentioned this on our podcast. We have kind of a less in-depth analysis of it on our episode 14 of our podcast. But it's easily, you could probably show up 45 minutes into the movie and not really have missed anything.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of backstory, but I told Rich in the middle of the movie, I said, well, what exactly has happened so far? Because it was really very boring.
It's very slow moving for sure.
And there are movies that are slow moving that are still very effective, but Noah is not one of those movies. And I don't think Crowe's performance, even Connolly's performance, is really enough to save the movie from how lackluster it really is.
And about just the one quick thing about the rock monsters, I was very nervous knowing that those were going to be in the film, going into the film.
What were they called, the Walkers or something?
The Watchers.
The Watchers.
And they actually were very interesting. Aronofsky made them very interesting. They're fallen angel types who tried to help Adam and Eve and God, the Creator, kind of banished them
They're
into
like
this
trapped. It's like these rock
into
formations.
these forms, for it. And they were actually a very interesting character. I didn't actually mind it, even though it was kind of wonky a little bit. I did give this, on our website, on the article that I wrote, I did give this a note rating, so, which means if you're not familiar with our system, you could either see it or avoid it. It's really up to you. We're not, telling you that you actually have to see this movie, but I think it is worth, like, a watch, even though a lot of it is kind of weird, kind of going in.
Yeah.
So
I think I would probably put it note or avoid. I could have done, when we walked out of the theater, I said to Rich, I said that was the biggest waste of 2 hours for me.
Yeah, I wasn't quite there, but
upon reflection, it wasn't the worst movie in the world, but I wasn't very happy with it. It didn't really quench my thirst for something. I was looking for something deeper than what Noah was, as far as like these moral obligations and moral things that arise from his story.
Yeah.
But like we said, it was just too much and too drowned out and too boring.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what Aronofsky puts out next, because I love all of his other movies.
Yeah.
I do think the cinematography was gorgeous in this movie, but again, that can only take a film so far.
Yeah.
So
right. So if you like this review, guys, please hit and subscribe. Visit our website at cinemaobserver.com. We plan on doing many more of these video reviews because we do understand that not a whole lot of people read on the internet. So, but there's always going to be content for you. We put up a podcast every week, so please subscribe to our podcast. We'll link to all this stuff in the description below. So,
even what you can look out for in these video reviews too is how awkward we are when we're not talking. Think about it. I mean, you're someone else is talking. What do? I don't want to stare at you, and I don't want to stare at Rich, but I also don't want to stare aimlessly. Anything could happen. So I mean, you got to keep track of the stupid things that I especially will do when other people are talking. I can't keep my head straight.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, expect more of these. I might even do one for Mad Men. On my trusty computer here. So we'll see you guys soon.
All right, thanks guys.